Hi everybody, it's Jeff Hopper back with Judge Tim Philpot, and we have been talking a lot about, actually in the last couple of videos we've been together, about what happens in some of the small groups that Tim is part of, and sometimes he sits there as a student, and sometimes he sits there almost as a teacher, but most of the time just as a participant. But one thing that you said last time was that people tend to sit down with the ones they're comfortable with and create a little bit of a cocoon, and they don't necessarily know what to do when somebody different walks in the door. This picture that's behind us that we've had this whole time, this is your home club, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And so some of the guys that you sit down with at your club, like you said, those guys are probably all golfers.
Yes, for
But
sure.
another group you have is maybe young guys who are in business doing so you mix and match a little bit, don't you?
Some, yeah, for sure. When I this is going back 13 years ago when I was involved with CBMC full-time ministry for a while, and when the Lord kind of said, come back to Lexington, I had this pretty clear voice that was telling me at the time that I needed to be in ministry in 3 different areas, so that at least for me it was good to specialize, if you will, on who I was involved with. And one was golfers.
Okay.
That's my connection with links and
Sure.
so forth. And secondly was ministry with lawyers, which was logical for me. This is before I knew I was going to be a judge.
Okay.
And third for me was India. I go to India.
Oh,
quite
that's
often.
right. Yes.
So that it really helps though in terms of your focus. So if I get invited to do something, it pretty much has to be India, lawyers, or golfers. And if it's not in one of those 3 categories, I usually say no.
Okay.
I mean, it's just my little special little rule I have. The perfect mission trip for me, in fact, would be a golf trip with lawyers to India. But
There
anyway,
you go.
And I'm working on
all
making
together.
I'm working on making that happen.
Okay.
But the group that we have that meets on Thursday mornings at Keen Run Golf Club is all golfers, and there's something fantastic about that because everybody speaks the same language.
Sure.
You know, when we talk about a duck hook, we all know what we're talking
Yeah,
about. And there's
right.
just little things about golf. We have our language.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The other group that's similar to that is lawyers. I've had it's a different kind of a thing, but once a month for a half a day at different times, I've had a group called the Zenus group. The word Zenus, the name Zenus is only mentioned one time in the Bible, and it's the only time that a lawyer is actually mentioned by name in the Bible. So in Titus 3:13, Paul said to Titus, do everything you can to help Zenos the lawyer. And so I've only met in my lifetime 5 or less lawyers that are truly happy being lawyers. And that's not
Really?
an exaggeration.
Wow.
Generally
Are
speaking,
you one of them?
no, I'm not. Not really. Generally speaking, they're a very miserable group, and it's a lot. We don't have time to get into all the reasons for that, but I realize there's a place for ministry for lawyers. So it's a small group of about 10 or 12 lawyers. We meet once a month, explore the possibility of being a Christian lawyer, and so again,
Christian lawyer.
I know. So, but again, it's the same kind of thing. We speak the same language.
Yeah, sure.
So when everybody
Sure.
starts talking about
Right.
Judge so-and-so, everybody goes, oh yeah, we know about Judge so-and-so.
Yeah, yeah.
So these affinity groups are fantastic, I think, and it's been really my primary way of doing ministries to get groups of people that think the same way together, who face the same struggles in
Right.
life. You know, but it's very difficult then sometimes to assimilate other new people into these groups.
Okay.
It just
And
it
that's
just
good to
is.
know. Tim, I get asked all the time, how are, say, fellowship groups and meeting clubs or groups like yours, how are those the church and how are they not the church? And I always answer that one of the ways that they're not the church is they don't tend to have that wide open door where pretty much anybody can walk through, you know, whether the door is really closed like a, very private club, or whether it's just closed because the affinity is so strong that nobody else feels comfortable. They're not quite like the church. So there's both that has to happen in a believer's life, don't you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, but it has to do with how you think about the church, period. You know,
Yes.
like I think there's only one church in Lexington, Kentucky, for instance.
Okay.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
And I believe that the group that meets in the bar at Keen Run Golf Course on every Thursday morning is part of the church in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't fit well in our traditional ways of thinking what church is, where the doors are open for anybody and everybody, whosoever will may come. I get that part, but I just think there's great value in having people together who face the same struggles in life every day.
All right. Well, the next time we're together, I want to talk to you a little bit specifically about the way the Lord has set you up to come into contact and minister to some people who are maybe very different than our people are often used to hanging around with.
Sure.